Hello, future bestsellers. We are so excited to be writing with you guys here today. I'm feeling very motivated today. How are
Yeah,
you guys? How are you guys feeling?
same.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm geared up and ready to go.
I know, right? There's something about I went for so I had a coaching client this morning at 9 and then I was finished up with that and then we started prepping for the stream. And but I also like crowbarred in a walk really quick, and it's like really windy outside today, like almost like hurricane weather, but not like dangerous, but like the pre-hurricane weather, which
Mhm.
I weirdly love. I don't know why I like that, like super windy. I'm a nerd. Anyway, so I went for this like power, like 15-minute like power walk to like hurry up and so now I'm like super energized and ready to roll. So yay! So before we get any further, let's go ahead and do our introductions. I'm going to start with you first today, Robert. Tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
Okay, well, my awesome channel is The Story Detective, and it's where I take various forms of storytelling and put it under a Sherlockian microscope and break down the craft to make the viewer's journey easier. And that's based on my time working at Marvel and various other places and just combining it all and making it happen.
It's a magical soup that you've got going on there. I know I had somebody say to me the other day, like your resume is like really interesting. Like you've done so many things that don't seem like they're related. Like I was a dating expert. I was a director of PR for for a publisher. I'm a book coach. I've done a million things, and I'm like, yeah. The thing is, they're all related to. They're all connected to books. Every single job I've had,
They
like
are. The creative industry all has different answers and different branches of storytelling, and I learned from a guy who helped invent sequential art storytelling. And when I started writing, I said, wow, this can really be helpful. I just have to transition it into prose.
right. You should write a book about that.
Yeah,
Uh,
working on some of it.
Michelle, tell us a little about you and your awesome channel.
All right, I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write middle grade and young adult novels, and my channel is traditional publishing chat, writing blogs, and writing workshops.
Yay, we are super glad you are here today. As always, I'm Lisa Daly, and I write contemporary romance, specifically romantic comedy and nonfiction advice. And on my channel, we talk about how to write a book you're super proud of and get it published. Let's say hi to our friends in the chat. Devin's here. Hello, Devin. We are super glad you are with us today. Lainey's here. She's here for an hour to get busy. Did I say that right? Busy. So we're going to make sure we cram in as many sprints in the next hour as we can to get Miss Lainey Davis on her way today. Miss Texas G is here. We are super glad to see you today. Daisy X is here. Hello. Right, right. That is true. The pre-hurricane winds are theatrical, like Heathcliff and Kathy. So, yeah, if you're, you know what? That's true. There is a sort of a Wuthering Heights vibe to the whole thing. I just love it. I don't know if it's like the palm trees. I'm not sure why I would love that so much, but I weirdly do. You can see my face is all flushed because it was hot, and I was like trying to make it back. So, anyway, Victoria's here. Hello, Victoria. We're super glad to see you today. Miss Swift, welcome as always. Mary's here. Aloha to you, Mary. Avi's here. Rainy morning today. I'm wearing denim cutoffs and fur booties.
Rainy here too.
Wait, hold on. Totally see that. Yeah, I got a new duvet and new duvet cover. And last night we had it on, and I was like, we couldn't decide if it was just like a little bit too warm for Florida or not. I might need to get like a lighter weight one. But also like the weight of a duvet can be like so cozy and comforting. And I like woke up this morning like, like I feeling like I just slept in like a really nice hotel. I'm like, yes, this is working. So love, love, love. Maz is here. Hello. We are super, super glad to see you today. Well, we got to get Lainey on the road here. So let's go ahead and start with our first 5-minute warm up sprint. Today, I'm actually reasonably organized. I already have it all queued up. So look at this. We're off
Great.
to a good start already. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and do our first 5-minute warm up sprint. You can write right now or get your document open and your drink and your giant vat of caffeine, whatever it is you need to get started for the day. I've got my giant vat of caffeine right here and my cachava, so I'm all extra for that. All right, everybody, here we go. We're going to put 5 minutes on the clock, and we've got it. 3, 2, 1. Let's sprint. All right. How did everybody do on that first sprint? Let us know in the chat. What are you guys working? Oh, I just got very dark. That was weird. What are you guys working on? Hold on. I have an app for that. Let's see. Let's see. I've got a little. Let there be light. Okay. So, what are you guys working on today?
Ghostwriting project.
Ooh, fun. How about you, Robert? What are you working on today?
I'm editing a client's project. So far, I just got set up and I got a system update, which is uploading. So that's what I did in my 5 minutes. And drink some coffee.
Very nice. So I'm going to Readers Take Denver in a couple of weeks, which I'm very excited about. It's at the Gaylord Rockies, and I could not remember if I had made my hotel reservation. Normally I do at the time I book a conference, but my mom lives in Denver, and I just realized she's like 40 minutes away, and so my plan was for her to stay with me at the hotel, which we may still do that, but I also thought, oh, maybe I'll just stay with her. And then I realized, like, I have a hotel room. I have 3 days of a hotel room at a place that's sold out. Should I stay or should I go? Let's hear your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, I'm working on on a book description today, Amazon listing. So, yeah, what are you guys working on in the chat? Let us know today. Avi is all about the duvet life. I love that. I really do love. Okay, Mary loves weighted blankets. I too love weighted blankets. My daughter has one. I'd recommend it to Robert. They're so great. They're so great, and you can put a weighted blanket in a duvet. It's like a hug. Right. Like, I just love it. If you've not experienced the joy of weighted blankets, you need to get one.
And I bought one since you mentioned it. And mainly it's over the foot of the bed since it's warming up here now. But at first, Georgie's like, I don't know if I'm going to like that. But then the weight on her feet, she's like, I do like this.
Yeah, I know. That was how I was. I was like, do I feel suffocated or do I love this? Oh, I love it. So yeah. Love that. Yes. Okay. So Miss Texas G has a great question. What is the market like for short romantic fiction? I have several stories that aren't really deep enough to be a long story. I'm thinking less than 10K words. I don't know the answer to that because I don't write short fiction. But I know a lot of people who do often use those shorter stories as like reader magnets, or they'll bundle them together in like 3 stories in one. But this is something where I'm like really out of my depth because I don't write short stories. But I feel like Lainey might have an answer for us, but I could be wrong. If not, I'll ask around. I have quite a few friends in romance who do write short fiction, so I'll ask them how they're doing. So if we can't order. Starting again. If we can't resolve this for you today, I will check with some friends to see what their opinion is. People who are selling well in romantic fiction, and see what they've got to say.
Romance, but I've seen like mystery and even horror authors write very short stuff for self-publishing, and it does well. Matter the length there for self-publishing as much as it does in traditional.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. That's true. And the other thing is, one way to test it is just test it. Like, maybe this stuff goes great, or maybe it ends up being a prequel that you do to like another series, or, I mean, there are a million different ways that you could do this, but I would like take a peek and see what's selling in shorts and see. In fact, maybe I'll, on the next sprint, I'll see if I can't, do a little research on Rocket and see what I come up with. So Ashley M is here editing today, trying to finish the book before the baby's war next week. Okay, you are our hero, Ashley. We're going to make sure wait, hold on. I just have to say this because you've got this coming, girl. Yeah, you deserve it. Is this your first baby? I will say I was kind of like that. Like, I had a list of stuff I was going to get done. There was some part of me that was like, I cannot have this baby until my wedding scrapbook is completed. And my mom and I finished it, and I went into labor at midnight that night.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know, right? Kind of funny. Okay, so let us know. Let us know if this is your first. That's just my own curiosity. So great. Oop, Lainey does have an answer. Ta-da! Oh, she she's like me. Regarding short fiction, I'm not actually sure. Roxy Noir has an alternate pen name that sells erotic shorts, and she does well with those. I can see how erotic shorts would do well. But some people are just looking for that, not for the story, but to just take care of business.
Yeah.
So that could be why shorts work particularly well in that group. But I am curious. I am really curious. Very nice. All right. What super, super awesome. All right. What Avi had a question. Where are you today? Did you
Where am I? Pacifico, which is just a little bit south of San Francisco.
Ooh, so
Yeah,
nice. So
yeah,
nice.
really nice here.
Lainey says you'll be exhausted, won't want to drive back and forth. Your mom can help me at my table. And that's what you know. It's so crazy. My assistant's going to be there, and my mom is going to be there. I'm very excited about that. Yes, we'll send Granny Janny over. She'll be like everybody's like table squatter. She's awesome though. Everybody loves Granny. Okay, so Moz loves sheets and blankets. Love, love, love. Can't have weighted blankets as they're not good for diabetics. Apparently, oh, that makes sense. Yes, right? Yes, they are swaddling for adults. I'm completely on board with that. Cool gamer. Glad to see you here today. Oh, RC is here. We're super glad to see you today. At the ninth month, I felt like I was carrying bricks, hard to do anything other than just trying to breathe. I was like, I got more done after my due date. I was like 5 days overdue with my first, and I felt like I just got like you're just so desperate to fill up the days until it happens that I just knocked out like a massive to-do list. RC, we are super glad to see you here. All right. We got to get everybody writing, specifically Lainey this morning, but everybody writing this morning. Oh, and obviously our upcoming mama to be, we got to get her going too. So here we go, everybody. Let's get our first 20-minute sprint on the books. There we go. All right. You've got this. We're going to kick some butt today, make those words happen. Everybody, we're starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's cha-cha. Sorry about that. I lost the window. You know how hard that is? Like, oh no.
Yes.
I'm like, where'd it go? That's good. It's always good when you're like so into what you're doing that you don't like the time passing 20 minutes goes right over your head.
Yeah.
So
That was a quick one.
it was. It felt very, very quick. So, all right, we have some comments. Let's do this. Regina says, it's fun writing some shorter reads since my thyroid has decided to crash again. Oh my
Oh,
well, yeah,
God,
tired
that.
all the time, all the time. John is jumping in with tequila. Is that like do 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 like that, or or just your suggestion for how to get through the sprints? Malins's here. Hello, very glad to see you. Everybody is here. I think we said hi to RC already, but hi RC. We're super happy that you're here today. So yes. Oh, I see. Got it. Da 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 da. All right. Sorry, I'm not that slow this morning. Um, you know, you guys know that like sometimes the tech stuff just like makes my brain go. But oh look, my fingernails match my glasses.
Hey.
I never get a manicure because you know typing all the time and always destroys them. But I had kind of a good interview yesterday, and I wanted to look fancy, so here I am. They'll look like crap by tomorrow, I promise. So let's talk about what did we talk about? You're working on a ghostwriting project, Robert. You're working on your craft book or the accompanying novel.
I'm working on a client's project today.
Oh, a client's project. And I'm doing my product description. What are you guys working on in the chat today? We have like an excellent description or an excellent discussion on weighted blankets. we're sort of off the we're sort of off of it with writing today, even though we are all writing like crazy. Let us know how you did on that last sprint. So John is on the 4th round of editing, finished with the 3rd draft, have started querying agents. Yay! That is fantastic. Very nice. Maz still working on edits, not able to do lots. I completely understand that. So slow in editing. I really do like editing. Although I feel that it frustrates me more when I don't give myself enough time to do it. Like if I do give myself enough time, then I really enjoy it. Yesterday, I coined a new phrase. I took my manuscript that I needed to like do editing and proofing on a hard copy because I always do that after the electronic just to sometimes you catch stuff that you missed in a different format. And so and I got a pedicure and a manicure, and I have decided to call it an edit cure because I was editing, I was getting my toes done. So I could not edit when I was getting my fingernails done, but I did get my toes done. I was like, yes, I've come up with a new word. I'm excited about that.
Well, you know, speaking of writing, I don't give myself a lot of rewards for doing well, but since I did pretty well through the winter, I like to try to give myself some kind of an award in spring. So I bought myself a new keyboard, the Quirky Writer, which I've been planning to get for a while. I saw they had a limited edition black one with gold trim, and it looked so nice. I said, "This is it."
Did you get it yet? Do we have like a keyboard
No,
fashion
it's
show?
arriving next Monday. It's in shipping somewhere up there.
All right. I feel like that could be a fun video for you because you have so many keyboards. You're such a keyboard guy that I feel like you could do a video that's like a runway show with keyboards coming down the runway,
Yeah,
turning
for sure.
right. I would do that. Like
looking, and it's actually solid metal. It looks really, really nice if you're into
fancy.
retro.
Right. Well, as you know, I am. Love. Maz wants to know what kind of keyboard is it?
It's the Quirky Writer. They've had one for a while, but they've had some limited editions, different colors over the past couple of years. And the black one with the gold trim just, it spoke to me.
Yeah, I get that. John says, I have a question, something I've noticed why there's so many female literary agents, not being misogynistic, but I hope I'm not being gatekept by a bunch of progressive woke women. Well, if you don't want to be gatekept by progressive woke women, don't submit to them.
Simple.
Right.
There
There are
are
plenty of there.
female literary agents. That's true.
Yeah.
But I would say if you look at authors and like, especially what authors are like dominating bestseller lists and awards and stuff, it's a lot of dudes.
Yeah,
Not
they're
women too, but like a lot of men are represented by female literary agents, and they do great.
yeah. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Right. And they're not gatekeep like if an agent thinks your work will sell and they like it, they'll sell it. They're
Yeah.
right. And if they don't like it or don't think it will sell for them, they won't sell it because they have to decide what to put their energy in, as we all do, right? But they had to decide what projects are most likely to make them money, which is why a lot of them will sell Colleen Hoover um, book-alikes over and over and over again because we all know that Colleen Hoover books sell. So, yeah. But no, there are plenty of male agents. I'm just thinking, right? So, okay. So, and I've had both female and male agents. Probably the agent I was closest to was Brendan Deneen. And the only reason he would have been my agent forever, but, he left agenting. And so he passed me along to his boss, who is a woman, Stephanie Evans, and she has also been fantastic. But I've had both male and female agents. I'm trying to think. I think I do have more, slightly more female agents. Well, I have had more female agents, but there are plenty of both. So, and also, not everybody in publishing is progressive. I think since you're trying to avoid progressive woke women, I mean, it is a lot of publishing is based in New York, so you certainly do have some of that. But there are entire who is it? What's James Carville's wife name? Marley. Is it Matt? Anyway,
I don't know.
she was a famous Republican speechwriter. He's a famous Democrat speechwriter, and they're married, and they've been married for a long time. And she has an imprint, I think, at HarperCollins that publishes conservative books. So there are plenty of people that read conservative books and plenty of agents that represent them. So I would not worry about that.
I have a little piece of advice. I hope this isn't like controversial or anything, but something that you and just like I recommend a lot of people do is when you're putting together your query list, don't use social media primarily. I know it's easy because it feels like the ones who are heavily present on social media, you get a better sense of their personality, but there are so many agents out there
True.
who aren't big on social media and they're not engaging with like all of the cancellation and the discussions that go on in publishing that get so kind of tiresome. Just find an agent who's got a nice profile on Agent Query or whatever and Query Tracker and
sells sells the kind of books that you are writing.
books that you're writing and like just like don't use social. I think it becomes easy, especially with like manuscript wish lists, to primarily use like Twitter to source. Oh, I'm going to query to this person because they're constantly tweeting about what they want, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's a ton of other agents out there who are a little quieter.
Yeah.
Might, maybe look over there.
I think
Yeah.
there's some real truth to that. And then another really great resource, I think, is that Writer's Digest often will do features. And even if you don't get the magazine, I think they promote them on social media. But they will often, highlight different agents who are new to agenting. And maybe they've just been promoted and now they're a full agent. And they used to be a reader for another more experienced agent. But people who are building their list need to find clients. And I always think it's funny because a lot of times writers are like, oh no, I want, Neil Gaiman's agent. And that's great. If you can snag Neil Gaiman's agent right out of the box, more power to you, baby. But if you're struggling with your queries, you might try going with a newer agent because I don't know. I feel like sometimes people who are at the beginning of their career, especially something that they're really excited about, and you have to be excited about being a literary agent to get to that point at the beginning of your career because it takes a ton of work and a ton of dues to get there. And so if you go with somebody new, they might just work a little harder for you because they're more dependent on your book being successful and their new authors being successful. So just a thought.
I also have
Anything?
a couple of thoughts on this,
Oh,
and
good.
I hope none of this seemed controversial. But the guy I was talking to the other day, he wants to get into writing. He's coming from a different part of the entertainment world in comics, but he's also middle-aged white guy, and he went to a writing conference, and he said most of the agents there were um, mid 20 to 30 something ladies, and he said he felt as a middle-aged guy he was kind of looked down upon a little bit. He's a pretty open-minded guy, but he had the same kind of feeling about it, and he's like, am I being judged? Am I just doing something wrong? I think there's so much hype out there that it's crazy. We had a conversation about it, and the fears and the whole idea of woke, which is really overblown. A lot of it comes from Disney and the Marvel and the Star Wars stuff, but
Oh God, yeah.
think about it though. Disney has had their Disney princesses, that this is their market. When they took over Marvel and Star Wars, did you think they were not going to represent female characters? It's
Right.
woke. It's where their bottom line of money is being made. So you need to separate business from all the propaganda.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
That's hard to do.
It
It
is.
is. It is hard to do. It is hard to do sometimes. Um, I love this conversation. We are going to continue it. We are also going to do one more sprint. We're going to come back and talk more about finding an agent, and because I think that point about younger people, about younger agents being at conferences, is valid. But I'm going to tell you why in just a minute. So let's talk about that when we come back. We are going to do, hold on here. I was like, oh yeah, we're going to do this, except I completely lost my timer. I was all I did the brag too soon, I think. I got the first one and the second one. The third one took me a little longer. All right, everybody. We are going to put 20 minutes on the clock. When we come back, we're going to talk more about finding an agent, if that's something that you were looking to do. And we are going to get some awesome words on the page starting right now. Here we go, everybody. 3, 2, 1, sprint. So again, went so fast. Oh my gosh, you guys. So let's continue our chat. How did everybody do on that last sprint?
That was a good one.
That was a good one, wasn't it? I like really just like was just going. It was one of those 20 minutes that just went by like so
Yeah.
fast. So Malin says, I sort of thought it depends on the genre too. I'm writing sci-fi right now, and in the UK, I see quite a few male agents representing that genre. But as I'm looking for paranormal now, it's more women. That makes sense. I think a lot of times too, agents are gravitate towards genres that they particularly love. So
I think you have to
yeah,
like it in order to be passionate enough to want to like sell it, right?
right. Well, and also they're not just reading your book. They have to read a lot of other books in the genre so that they're familiar with what's selling, what people are excited about, what publishers want. So yeah, I would think that would be a thing. Lainey says, is woke somehow bad? I don't get it. Right. I mean, if you think about the traditional definition of just being conscious of like other people's experiences, then no, I do not think it's a bad thing at all.
No, it's been subverted into something that's
Exactly.
It has. It does not mean what it started to mean. So yeah, exactly. Hello, Laura. We are super, super glad you are say here. Okay. So okay. Oh, tequila. All right, here we go. So Regina says, I have felt the ageism at conferences also. Do they send the junior members out to conferences? So maybe that's why they're just annoyed with everyone over 30.
Yeah, I have met like newer editors and agents, and some of the younger ones will get the corporate writ, and they'll come out there kind of full of themselves, and that's also a real thing. But a lot of it is, especially if you're just breaking in, every creator that I've known has got their confidence up to a point. Like you and I were talking just before the stream, Lisa. It's like when you're ready and you're feeling confident, they read that and they feel like if your work is at a certain level and they're reading good vibes from you, it sounds odd, but then that's what gets them to take a chance. If you feel kind of edgy or they sense something is off, even if your work is good, they're going to think maybe you're not the person that's going to meet their deadlines or be reliable, because they're looking at investments. It's money for them. And
right.
the whole industry feels like relying on people to make their money is a gamble. And you don't want to put a wall between you and their profit. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
This is a big, big part of it.
I think that's true. I will also say one of my favorite conferences is Novelist Inc., which is a conference that has sort of an entry barrier, meaning that if in order to go to the conference, unless you're going as like an assistant, in order to go to the conference, you have to be accepted to Novelist Inc., the organization. And in order to be accepted to Novelist Inc., the organization, you have to have published a certain number of books, and there is a revenue floor, right? So you have to not only have published a couple of books, but if you're indie published, the revenue floor is higher, which I find interesting. I mean, it's not dramatically higher, but what happens is you end up with a conference with people who are making a living selling their books. And there are a lot of writers there who are, and it's not just romance, this is all genres of fiction. There are a lot of writers there who are over 50. I think if you go into it feeling like, oh, they're going to think I'm old, which is all just what Robert and Michelle just said, that's what you put out is going to be what you get back. And somebody,
that fear, yes, it becomes that wall, and you cause resistance for yourself. So don't pay attention to what the world is saying. Go in there like, if you know your work is good, have the confidence and feel that it's good. There's another thing, that Regine is asking about, the the pitches. Yes, I was just talking to another guy the other day who sent me a chapter paragraph, and he said he doesn't want to pitch like it's a Hollywood movie. He doesn't get it. But the industry is taking on a lot of practices from the movie industry. The whole structural thing, like Save the Cat, all that comes from the film industry. And there's nothing you can do to really stop it, because the film industry has synthesized everything down to a formula and they're making money at it. And the book industry wants to do the same thing.
Right.
No, I don't like that. But unfortunately, it's happening.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that this idea of how many books can she write in her remaining years is a thing. But you know what? There are plenty of authors that, like, once they hit like 50 or 60, their kids are gone. Now they can just do the thing. I know tons of writers who didn't even start until after they were in their 50s or after their 40s, and became more productive as the years went on, because they had less of the sort of outside life pressures. They're more established in their careers, or now they're retired and they can do this. So I'm sure that there are people that think that nobody over 50 ever wrote a good book, and there are a lot of other agents that know that that's bullshit. So I just find the ones that are okay. And as a regular conference rat, I can tell you there are plenty of people over 50, over 60 writing books, making a living at it, and it just doesn't matter. And you know what? If it sells,
Mm-hmm.
they don't care. They don't care. They don't
They are
care.
constantly.
I mean, how old is George R.R. Martin?
Mhm.
100. I don't know how old he really is, but he's no spring chicken. So yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay. Let's keep going. Here we go. Daisy feels the same way. I don't know that that's necessarily true. That one of the things I wanted to say before the break was that the people who go to the conferences are often the younger agents in the agency. And so, because the more established agents already have a full client list. And so, some of them go, like my agent, Stephanie, even though her client list was filled for quite a while, she used to go to those things, I think more of like a community service, industry service kind of thing. But a lot of more senior agents don't. They just don't. So, all right. Lainey had to run to a book funnel webinar, which now I'm like, what book funnel webinar? I would have to see if there's a replay later. I'm sure there is. Yeah, I think if anything, I mean, the great thing about publishing now is that it's so democratized. If you sell and you really want to be with it, if you really want to be with a traditional publisher, but for whatever reason you can't make that happen, but you manage to sell your books yourself on Amazon, the traditional publishers and agents will take a look at your sales numbers and say, yes, I would like to be in business with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Very nice. RC says, I've been reading other genres to help develop my own voice. Just finished John Quixote and now started book 1 of the Shogun series. I remember Shogun like being around my house when I was a kid. I have to say though, I have never read it. Have you guys ever read it?
No, I've never read it.
Report back, RC. Tell us if it's worth the read. If we go back in the time machine and read Shogun. Wasn't there like a mini series or a movie or something? I feel like it was like a big thing. Interesting question, Regina. Robert, does it annoy you that they want us to present like we're public speakers or movie makers?
It annoys me.
We just kind of covered that, but yes, it is annoying, and on the subject that we were just on, there are people who feel like there's a corporate trickle down, like there's a shelf life on everything and younger is better.
Yeah.
But it used to be that, experience mattered in writing. And there's still people like Poets and Writers magazine has an article every month called 5 over 50. There's constantly middle-aged people over the age of 50 that's breaking into the industry. So that's not publicized a lot, but this magazine actually puts it out every month. So obviously it's happening.
That's pretty cool though. I mean, I think about like when I did PR for Ocean View, I can't tell you how, like most of our authors were like 50, 60, 70-year-old white guys.
Mhm.
I mean, it's mystery. So that's kind of the group of people that write mystery. We certainly had women and we had some, we had a transgender author who is just a lovely human being and a hell of a writer. But yeah, it's just, and the other thing is we had talked about this last week, which I want to remind you guys, because I think it was, let me think of who said this. It was Miss Texas G was talking about writing books with a protagonist that is not 30 years old. And
Mhm.
there are readers who want to read those books. And you know who's going to have a harder time writing about the life of a 50-year-old protagonist? A 30-year-old author. So
Yeah.
there are people who want to read the books that you want to write. And if there are people who want to read the books you want to write, then publishers will, I mean, if there are enough of them, publishers will want to publish your book. So that's just,
Yes.
yeah. Let's see. Avi has a great question. My main character appears in chapter 4. Is that too late? A lot of stuff must happen before she arrives. The Gossip Girl character sends out letters destroying the MC's family, and then she's summoned back home. I don't know. My initial instinct is that's too late, but I think you can pull off anything. So, so without reading it, it's hard to tell. I feel like I might, if it were me, and this is just, I love starting in media res. I would start it and then feed in some of that stuff. Like I
Yeah.
would start it at the disaster and then feed in a little of the backstory when as necessary about what has happened. So
Yeah.
were you, go ahead.
Yeah. I was thinking like rules kind of they're there for a reason, and the reason it's a rule that you want to meet your main character early, generally speaking, is the reader wants to latch onto somebody. If you're writing it in a way that somehow we're learning a lot about her before we meet her, or I don't know, just think about it from a reader perspective, not from your perspective where you know the whole story in your head. Like something that I've had to tell myself a lot in the past is if I'm asking the reader to have patience with me, then I need to rethink what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm,
You know what I mean? And
mm-hmm.
like go back and why am I doing this? Am I doing it for me because I want to introduce it this way? How would the reader want to see this?
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think you're right about this idea about giving the reader somebody to latch onto right away. Robert, I just interrupted you. What were you going to say? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all this. It's usually too late if you're coming in like in the 4th chapter, but I do believe that it's possible to get some stuff in there if it's all pointed at the main character and the reader feels like, oh my gosh, what did these people have, against this character? What
Right.
she done wrong? What's happening to her? And then we meet her and we see the disaster's effect. But 3 chapters all devoted to that seems a little bit lengthy.
Yeah. If it's me, I'd start it like on the morning of the disaster for your main character, like when the crap hits the fan and she gets a million texts from her friends or whatever is happening. If we let's just say Gossip Girl, right? So Gossip Girl, well, actually I don't want to, I had a thought and then I'm like, wait, that's not going to work after all. But if it's me, I'm going to start on the morning of the disaster, right? When your main character finds out everything is like her life or his life has just hit the fan. And maybe you have a prologue where you have just like the first the first letter that the Gossip Girl character has sent out. But I think even that would be like I almost, if you start on the disaster, then you get your readers sucked in right away to figure out like why are these people doing this to this woman or this person doing
Yeah.
this to and like it gives you more opportunity to suck the reader in. There you go. All right. Oh, Miss Texas G comes in with a Shogun answer. Miniseries with Richard Chamberlain, which is why I read the book. He was so handsome. I've read books for that reason. Love. Okay. Oh my gosh, StreamYard just jumped. Hold on. I just tell everybody I'm 29 until my looks start betraying me. It's funny that you say that because for my entire adult life, anytime my kids ask how old I am or anyone asks how old I am, I always say 29, same as last year. So John wants some resources in Query Tracker. I think best place is to get, what were you going to say?
I commented to him. I didn't know if we were going to get to his question.
Oh,
I wanted his Marketplace.
Oh, that's exactly what I was going to say. Okay, perfect. Yeah, Publishers Marketplace. You can literally see who's selling in your genre, who sold the book that's like yours, and how much they got for it. Right. It's great. It's very inside baseball information, but it's the best possible place to put together a query list for sure. Um, I think Malin says, I think people know that it's an industry that's tough to break into, and most of us take a lot longer to get books out while handling full-time job. Yes, that's absolutely the truth. I
Mhm.
feel like you have like sort of one of two scenarios. Of the authors I know, they generally started one of two ways. Well, one of three ways. The first one is they were already broke, and at 20 years old, they decided to start Kindle publishing, and now they're making some like they didn't have a mortgage, they were living in mom's basement, or they just got out of college and had 3 roommates or whatever, and they just did this thing, and it took like they were able to get enough success to be able to do that. In fact, one of my clients, who is now a 6-figure author, knocking on Seven's door, had she like, in order to pay for editing for her first book, she took a pizza delivery job, like just for editing costs. So I see that's one way. The second way that I see a lot of times is that somebody's like gone to college, had regular career, and maybe they around 40 or 50, they have enough sort of stability financially that they want to like finally go ahead and do this passion project. And then another group is that they do all that except they wait until they retire, and then at 60, 65, 70, 75, they write their first book. And those are sort of the 3 groups of authors that I mostly know. A lot of people do it with a side job though for their whole careers, or just until they retire, and then they are going to write full time. So yeah, I think there's some truth to that. I think also though, not just in publishing, but also in other media industries, that there's always a fascinate. We all love the 23-year-old ingenue or debut author. Like that's just a thing. That's just society, and and it's okay. It's all okay. Texas started. Miss Texas Cheese says this is my case. I started after 50. People are ageist even to established authors. Weren't some people asking Brandon Sanderson if he'd take over for George R. R. Martin if something happened to him? Wait, does it like? I know he's doing some other project. He probably, between him and oh God, what's his name? He wrote Good Omens.
Terry Pratchett.
No, the other one. Huh?
Neil
Neil Gaiman. It's
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman. Yeah. I just had a Neil Gaiman size hole in my brain for that. Aren't most bestsellers and successful startups helmed by people 40 plus? I think
I don't know the statistics on that.
I don't either. I don't know the statistics on it, but it seems like you have like kind of the best of both worlds, right? You're still young, and let me just think about my little stable of 6 and 7-figure authors. I'd say they're all, that's not true. They're like, no, I've got the gamut actually. I would say there's a good concentration around the 40s.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Frank McCourt was 66 when Angela's Ashes was published. John says, I couldn't write good prose until I was 45. Regina agrees. Tolkien was 45 when he published. So yeah, there's plenty of success with people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plenty. All right, here we go. RC says, I'm not old enough to remember the Shogun series, but I am old enough to remember that Toys R Us sold action figures for super R-rated movies. That's hilarious. And RoboCop. That's really, really funny. Oh, this is good. Okay, good. Yeah, love that.
There you
All
go.
right.
Yeah, that works great.
Vixen said I used to do the 29 thing too. I was 29 until all my younger siblings were older than me. I know, right? I imagine it gets worse when your kids get older than you.
Yeah.
That's more challenging, I would think. There you go. Very, very nice. All right. Fantastic. RC will be 40 tomorrow, not 49, 40 tomorrow. You look 29 to me, buddy. Very, very nice. RC says, I hate everyone under 30. I'm sure that there's something to that. Robin says, I try to remind myself I wouldn't be able to write what I'm writing now if I didn't live through the years I have. Like I didn't have at 23 what I have now to inform my writing. I think I just completely mangled that sentence, but you guys know what she meant, and you can read, which I think that was much clearer. Yeah, I think there's a big part of that, right? That you have a different I certainly was a different person at 23 than, at 29 as I am now. So yeah, I mean, you learn a lot and you have a lot more experiences, you have a lot more. I think I was probably judgier more because I didn't have friends that had, stayed with somebody who had cheated on them and had, and rebuilt the relationship. I would have said, like, just burn it all to the ground. Like things like that, where you don't have that sort of perspective. I
Mhm.
would still burn it all to the ground personally, but I see why people don't. Okay.
Yeah, practice makes perfect. And, as you get older, you become more refined in your skills. I think a lot of the whole corporate thing is people become set in their ways. If you haven't, watched a movie or read a book that's been published in the past 20 years and you're still liking something that's considered outdated as your comp copies, they're going to look at you and say, oh, they're not current. Try to stay current. That's a thing, and try to diversify and be as adaptable as you can. I think that's a ticket right there.
Hmm. RC was driven by whiskey and stupidity. As many of us started out, right? Melissa says, I'll say this, I'm having a much better time at 33 than 23. Right? I
Yeah.
think, like, yeah, for sure. I think 30s, honestly. Well, I mean, I don't know. I, I've had spectacularly great experiences in every decade I've ever lived in. So hopefully it will continue on that path. Oh,
Life is
yeah.
good.
Cheap run.
20s is a decade when you feel like you know everything.
Yeah.
And then you get into your 30s and you kind of dread it for a minute. And then you're in your 30s and you're like, wow, I really didn't know anything in my 20s.
I did not.
Keep going.
I have not had, I don't know. I feel like well, first of all, I've terrible memory when it comes to birthdays. So, and it's probably because I've been saying I'm 29 for my entire life. I don't have any, like, I really literally have to go back and do the math if I actually have to know how old I am, which is funny because we always tease that my mom is immortal because she just hasn't aged. She hasn't aged in like 30 years. And so I just think, like, well, if I just keep saying that, and now my kids say that I'm immortal, like I make my, like, sort of like a family thing. And so I go, like, well, yeah, Avi, this is so, it's so funny. I almost said that very same thing because I thought it was so hilarious. Melissa says, I feel like 30s is when you stop caring about knowing everything you do. I think that's true. And you know what? You stop worrying so much about what other people think when you're
Yeah.
30. Yeah. That's like the gift of being 30 is that you are a lot more comfortable with who you are. So absolutely. I hear, as you know, I'm only 29. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and do another sprint. We have time for one more. This will be our final one of the day, but I am super excited because I have been so productive today. So I hope you guys have too. Here we go. Make this one count. We're getting started in 3, 2, 1. Make it count. All right. That was so fast. I cannot believe that I did like 20 minutes because it definitely did not feel like that. So I guess I should use my mic, huh? So driven by whiskey and stupidity, we have the distilled spirit of youth. Oh no, Robin. I love that. Oh, me too on the sparkling. I bet you know what though? Robin does sparkle. I can see it right from here. Whew.
I've used that vampire excuse as well.
love that. That is awesome. So the only question that we have not really wrapped up today was the one about whether or not there is a market for romance shorts, and I'm going to try and see if I can snag some advice on that. So if anybody has a last second super quick question before we go, feel free to pop it up. Oh, Robert's got one. All right.
I have a question for you, Lisa. Since most of my clients at this point, even though their ages vary, they're kind of just starting out. And the question I get a lot is, what is the percentage of people that are self-publishing, if they're on the line between self-publishing and traditional, that are making a decent amount of money in self-publishing? Are they mostly established writers coming into that, or are there a good percentage of newer writers?
Yeah. So the most successful self-publishers are hybrid authors. You are more likely to earn $100,000 a year from your publishing or more. There's like a 12% chance if you're a hybrid author, meaning that you both self-publish and you're traditionally published. And I think the wisdom behind that is that, one, if you've traditionally published, you probably have built up somewhat of an audience. Also, there's probably a good quality level there.
Mhm.
But you also know that indie publishing is a way to keep more of the revenue that you're bringing in. So I have seen a number of studies on that. I want to say the number was 12%. It was like 12% of hybrid authors are making over 100K a year, which is great. That's like something you can pay your mortgage and eat with, and all that other good stuff. I don't know what the stats are on how many. There are so many people that just throw up a book and never either or up throw up a book and never do any sort of marketing support. But I will say that of my 7-figure author clients, 6 and 7 figure author clients, they are all either hybrid or indie published, every single one of them. So
Okay.
and I know that my trad published authors that I worked with in PR and also some book coaching as well, that they are struggling more now than I have seen them struggle in the last 5 or 10 years. So yeah, there are a million reasons for it, and we could definitely go into that next week a little more if we want to. But yeah, that's
my best observations and people that I've talked to that have made money self-publishing either have some business knowledge and they use that business knowledge for their marketing, or they've taken more than a few months to get their book done. They're concentrating on craft and getting the book done right. It seems like the cream does rise to the crop when people take a little time with their prose rather than just banging out a book to get it published.
Cream rises to the top, cream of the crop. I only said that because I have like PTSD from the words cream of the crop, because I had a 7th grade English teacher who was awful. There was no one who could make writing or reading more boring than this woman. But I remember her vividly, even though I remember nothing else about her other than how much I hated her class, which was tough because I loved to read and write at the time. Well, still. But she would constantly, because we were like the one class, and she would constantly call us the cream of the crop all the time, like this evil crow, cream of the crop. And I just, like, anytime I hear those words, I'm like, have a little like that. So anyway, RC says Robert just quoted Macho Man Randy Savage. The cream rises to the top, brother. Ooh, yeah. RC, it's so funny to me. I know that you and I think you and the Horror Geek have maybe talked, or at least you've been over on his channel. And I always like there are things you say that always make me think that you guys would like be friends. So, Robin's got one last question before we go. If you write under a pen name and want to query under your name, do you have to disclose your pen name with an agent? It is not a big deal at all. The only time that this is going to come up is when you are getting ready to do the contracts. You're going to have to give them the legal name that you want your contracts under. And that can be your pen name. You could do it as a DBA, which is doing business as, if you set your business up that way, or it's really not like they do it all the time. It's not a big deal at all. So if you're like, this is my pen name, this is my real name, and I don't want to disclose my real name or whatever else you want to do, that's I've never had anybody have any problem with that. It's so standard in the industry. Well, there you go. I'm so glad. Anybody have anything to say about the pen name, actual name thing?
Sorry, I get a lot of mixed. I feel like I've asked this question a lot, and I always get like mixed answers from people. I think it just so depends. There's, I don't know if you have to disclose it. I would say, I guess, like, if it's not going to carry over audience wise at all, maybe not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, ask yourself if that's the kind of relationship you would want to have with an agent. Like, I don't think I would want to necessarily keep some part of my publishing life secret from my agent, even if they weren't the ones.
I read this question in such a different way.
Oh,
no, I think your way might be right. I had a client who wrote under a pen name and was very adamant about she was very privacy focused, did not want her real name connected with her pen name, which eventually she sued Putnam and it ended up being connected anyway.
wow.
But yeah, it was, we could talk about that. I feel like I kind of don't want to, but it's quite a story. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about, remind me next week and I'll give you guys the bare bones of it. But she did not want to, like, hers was more of a privacy concern. Are you asking, Robin, if, like, let's say you sell erotic romance under Jenny Hot Stuff, but you'd also like to pitch a mystery series to an agent for Trad Pup, right? That's what I got. Is that, like, do you have to reveal that you also write Jenny Hot Stuff? I think you could say I have an erotic romance series under a different pen name, but again, I don't think it's going to cause you any problems. The agents are not. Like, it's just a non-issue. It's just sort of par for the course, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. You guys are awesome. We love you. We should be doing our outros right now. I'm going to start with you, Michelle, since I started with Robert. Tell us a little about you and your channel before we go.
All right. I'm Michelle Schusterman. I write middle grade and young adult novels, and my channel is Writing Workshops, Traditional Publishing Chat, and Writing Blogs.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so glad. You guys are always so awesome. Robert, tell us a little about you and your channel before we head out today.
My channel is The Story Detective, where I put various forms of storytelling under a Sherlockian microscope and break down the craft to make the viewer's journey easier.
Very nice. I love it. I feel like I need to turn up my light again, you guys, right before we go. So I'm not going to. So it's so dark and creepy outside today, though. Hi, I'm Lisa Daly. I write romantic comedies, including hockey romance and nonfiction advice. And on my channel, we talk about how to write a book you're super proud of and get it published. And of course, we are here every Wednesday for writing sprints and to answer your writing questions. So thanks for being here, everybody. And we will see you next week. Robert?
Take care, everybody. Keep the blacking.